So my name is Omar Torres. I've been a barber for over 6 years now, and the way that all started was growing up. Um, I actually would never do my hair. I just would roll out of bed and just go to school like that. Because my hair was super long and wavy and curly, so I just figured it was very hard to tame and manage. So I just figured it'd be easier to just roll out of bed and go to school like that. But um, once I got into high school, I honestly noticed that it was an important part of me. Um, and so that's when I started to look around for barbershops and things like that. But I soon realized that it was actually a lot harder to make it a routine for the fact that I was barely a freshman, so I didn't have my driver license, I didn't have a car, and we actually lived across town, and so that made it so much harder for me, to find a ride, to get my mom to take me, to the barbershop and all that stuff. And so finally, got to a point where I actually couldn't be consistent. I couldn't build a routine and have a fresh haircut just the way I wanted to. And so basically, I guess I kind of got tired of trying. I kind of like this rule that I have is like you can only try something so many times, and if it doesn't work, you got to fix it. And so at that point, I realized that I had a problem and I had to fix it. And so I figured one day I was like, well, how hard can it be to do a haircut or to cut your own hair? And so finally, my mom took me to Walmart one day and she dropped me off, and I actually didn't even know where the clipper aisle was at. And so here I am trying to look for this clipper aisle, and I remember I didn't even know what to look for. I didn't know anything about brands. I didn't know anything about trimmers or nothing like that. And so basically at this point I just realized, well, whatever much money I have in my wallet, that's what I'm gonna get. And so I just kind of figured maybe try to get something that's like the most expensive. I figured it'd be probably the best idea to just buy one that costs more. And so at that point I was like, well, I think I had like $30 or $32 to be exact, honestly. And basically I just bought whatever clippers, and that's kind of what I started off with. And so obviously I didn't have a spot or anything like that, so I told my mom if I could just use her bathroom or one of the bathrooms in the house, and she's like, yeah, she was very supportive of the idea. And I just borrowed her kitchen chair and just started setting up right there, and I really didn't even, I didn't know what I was doing. But at that point, family members started to find out that I was like cutting hair, and they started just messaging me, calling me, calling my mom, like, hey, do you think you can cut my hair? And so I kind of started with that, and I guess people were just reaching out to me, and I was pretty shocked because I would literally tell them like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing though, and they're like, oh, it's fine, I just need some weight off my head, and basically that's kind of how I started. I didn't really know anything about vision or nothing. I just kind of said yes. I never said no because I just figured it was rude. And as long as they gave me the permission to do so, I felt like it was right. And so I just kept doing that. Like I said, I never knew it actually had any potential. As a matter of fact, I actually even decided to go to college for something else because I just saw it as a side thing, because no one ever talked about it having potential, or no one ever told me anything about having a vision and actually pursuing something. Just like anything else, they tell you gotta go to school and that's the only way. So I did, but basically at one point I realized that college wasn't for me, and I pretty much took the decision to go to barber school and pretty much make the best of it. I just didn't look back after that. And next thing you know, I have my business, Proper Cuts. And at the time, I actually started with the business partner that I had at the time. And so that's kind of how we got started. And yeah, this is how Proper Cuts became established eventually. And now we've been there for over 6 years. And yeah, I mean, definitely there's been a lot of ups and downs. Um, it's definitely been crazy. It's definitely gone by super fast. Um, I think I wouldn't ever change it though. I think if I could go back and do it all over again, I definitely would in a heartbeat. It's taught me so many things. Um, and I mean, I'm still learning till this day, you know. I think that's what's exciting about it is that it's just an ongoing project, you know, an ongoing vision that just never ends. Um, and I think one of the scariest things though is not knowing your next step, your next move. But I mean, like from what I've done and from what I've learned, I feel like you don't always have to have all the answers. You just got to start. And I feel like a lot of us don't want to start because we don't have the ability to do it. But I feel like as long as you have ambition, eventually with time the ability matches your ambition, and so eventually you're able to do something that you never thought you'd be able to, you know? I feel like at this point in life, not to say that I know everything and that I've learned everything, but I feel like um, I've done a lot already at this point with my business. Like every idea that I had, I did it, I executed it the way just I imagined it. Um, but I think just like anything else, you always kind of want to upskill to the next level, you know, to the next thing. And so at a certain point in life, I feel like that next level is actually to try to help people out, is to give back, to inspire, to ensure, you know, that like, you know, it's okay to do something different, you know, it's okay to pave your own path, you know, you don't gotta follow the crowd. As long as it's okay for you and that's what you want. I mean, just go 110 and, you know, 110%, and with time, you know, consistency, dedication, and sacrifices, everything will actually work out. And so, I mean, I feel like we're all destined to do something. It's just we gotta look for it. It's not gonna come to you.
Yeah.
You know. And so I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, man. I feel like inspiring people, man. I just think that's where it's at. You know, and motivating. You know, because there's so many great things in life. You just gotta tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta figure it out. And so, yeah, I think those are my next goals down the road. You know, maybe if this even, you know, opens someone's eyes to help. I don't know, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in any way. You know, I think that'd be great. Even if it's one person, you know, that's one person.
Right.
You know.
Yes. Tell me a little more about that then. You know, because definitely know that like when you sit somebody down and you have one-on-one with them, you really connect with the person. So say what's that like? You know, the relationship building, and then also inspiring people through what you do. Because I know that like
Yeah.
it seems like it's almost kind of like an upcoming thing that like the younger generation wants to be more like self-motivated and stuff.
Right.
And so,
Mhm.
what would be some reasons like you want to inspire?
At a certain point, I think it's just like giving back. You know, it's like a world that you tap into that you never knew was there, and you kind of want more of it. You know, I don't know, like basically, I mean, going through all those hard times, you know, it's really not that bad. At the moment, you might not realize it and see it, but it actually does build you. And I feel like that's a side of it that you want to share is, you know, everything that you went through and learned. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just like once you experience it, like I say, you just want more of that taste. You know, I mean, people call you lucky or tell you that you're lucky. You know, because they see your success in whatever way they, you know. But like realistically, it's like it's not really luck, man, because we all have the same 24 hours in the day. Um, you know,
Right.
if you know how to use every second wisely, you know, you can do some damage with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all preference, you know, it's prioritizing as well, you know. It just depends how bad you want it, you know. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of it is just discipline and patience, and so it's just like anything else, you know. You gotta pick one thing and develop it and enhance it and become great at it. And I feel like that's when people are like, oh, like how did this guy do it? It's like, well, realistically, you know, while you were sleeping, I was still working, you know. While you had one job, I had two, I had three, I had four, you know. And so while you took vacation, I was still grinding, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like nobody has a chart and is like adding all those points up, but you are, because you know what you're doing, and you know all the sacrifices that you're going through. And so, like I said, I feel like people just see the end of the journey, but they don't see the in between. And so once they see you at the end of your journey, they're like, well, how does this guy do it, And so either that or they don't believe it. Like they'll think that it was handed down, or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Like I said, man, I think it's just the whole being like adapted to the whole environment. Just not giving up, man. It's always about adapting. It's just not questioning. I think one of the biggest things is you can't feel sorry for yourself, because I feel like the moment you feel sorry for yourself, that's as far as you got. For me, I don't have limits. I do what I gotta do. I don't question it, and that's it. I don't feel sorry for myself because I want something greater. Like you kind of get to a point in life where you kind of get tired of struggling, and that can mean different things for different people. But I guess one of the things for me is I just don't ever want to have to ask anybody for anything. And so, if anything, vice versa, I actually want to be able to help people. And so I think that's my biggest motive. And yeah, man, like I said, I want to help people out with that. And so that's kind of where I'd like to head probably in the future, slowly. And so, just a matter of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So would you say it's kind of that you'd like to inspire people by showing them what is possible?
Yeah.
That you can take something from the ground up if you put the time in.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like I'm the type of person that I don't say much. This is probably the first time I've ever talked as much. But I don't say much. I do more. Like they say, actions speak louder than words. And so I'm very minimal when it comes to that stuff. But I mean, I don't know. It's just actions speak louder. So I figured, if I can show someone that I did it, I feel like that'll be more of a motivating perspective, for someone.
Right. Doing and executing, and the fruit that comes from that, and being able to show them kind of
right. Because I mean,
what's possible.
Because saying it is one thing, but doing it is another. It's like, and so I mean, I don't know. At the same time, I like the challenges. For me, when I have a challenge, in my head, it's already executed. It's just a matter of time before it even starts, But in my head, it's already done deal, man. That's how sure I am of myself and of my potential and my ability, And so you gotta know where you stand with that, Sometimes they say, it's not good to make a too big of a goal that's unrealistic. To a certain point, yes, because you got to be realistic to a certain degree, right? But for the most part, I mean, I feel like I set some pretty high standards for myself, and so I've been able to execute most of everything that I've actually set. And like I said, to a lot of people, they'll probably be like, "Oh, it was a handout," But it's just like, no, dude. I mean, there's a lot of time invested, a lot of sacrifices that have to play a part of it,
Yeah. Would you agree? I've heard this phrase quite a few times. Would you agree with the if you, and I'm gonna butcher this a little, can't remember the exact words, but the if you shoot for the stars, even if you fail, you'll still land on the moon or something like that. It's if you shoot for the moon, you might land amongst the stars, or however that saying goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think with that, it's because the whole point of learning is actually through failing. So after failing, you're gonna kind of go back and see what you could improve on. So you improve it.
Absolutely.
And then you're better off the next round. Next time. And so I feel like that's a good saying, because it's hinting at you, to it's okay to fail, because sooner or later, you'll have the answers,
right,
to get yourself back up.
Right. And that's exactly why I asked him why I thought of it, is because how you said, sometimes you don't want to make goals that are too big, but like I think we both agree that like you've got to have goals for one,
Right.
otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. But even
Right.
if your goals are like way too big, like having a goal that's too big isn't necessarily
Bad.
an issue, because
Yeah.
at least then you're still chasing something,
Right.
and you're giving it that effort. You're going to
Right.
find out what works and what doesn't work, and even if you fail,
Right.
you've done something rather than just
Then nothing,
dream
just
it
wait.
up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. I mean, like I said, I always like to stay mentally busy, you know. I never really knew anything about having a vision or anything like that, like I said, but I feel like with having that ambition, you know, the ability comes with it, and you just kind of start kind of building your own path and kind of start seeing what you like and what you don't, and what works for you, you know. And so, yeah, man.
I like that.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot more to it, you know. But yeah, dude, it's just kind of where I'm at.
What's been, you know, over the time that you've been doing it, what's been one of your favorite things about doing the hair, cutting hair, being a barber?
Honestly, about being a barber, it's crazy to think, but I used to always be shy. Like I said, I never knew anything of this side of things, you know, as far as like what we're talking right now. But I think the best part about being a barber is being able to throw this in, you know, because like I said, I was always shy. I used to always sit in the back. I used to never raise my hand, even though if I had 100 questions. I just, you know, never did it, man, just because it wasn't in me, you know. And so now, like, it's kind of nice to be able to have been able to tap into that side of things and fulfill that now, you know, being able to do that on top of my passion. And it's nice, you know, like, to have someone that you've never met and you can still throw on this conversation. It's priceless to me, man. You know, I think that goes a long way. Yeah, so I think that's just what makes it more entertaining, you know, because you don't want to sit in the chair and just stare at the wall, you know. I mean, not like that.
No, actually, that's funny. I thought of you, and I think I had in conversation told people kind of this analogy, but like, and I think maybe even talking to Colton the other day, was like, you know, there's way more. There's a lot of value in sitting down with like Omar to get your haircut and stuff, because you're getting a fresh cut, you're getting, you know, that conversation and stuff. And a comparison was like when we were in Vegas, there was a couple like blackjack dealers that didn't say a word.
They just
like,
kind of
just sat down and there was no.
They just did what they had to do.
Right, and I think like to a certain extent they can't be too social,
too involved. Yeah,
but like it ruins the experience if you're just sitting there, you know, playing with
someone that you don't even know.
Like,
yeah,
and so for me anyways, like there's a huge amount of value in that kind of social experience, and that, because like I'm definitely same way.
Yeah,
grew up, you know, being kind of the quiet one, you know, in my head.
Yeah,
still, like I said earlier, you know, I get in the zone with video and just in my head and I'm very focused.
Yeah,
but you know, coming in and sitting down and, you know, building the relationship that we kind of have and like getting comfortable and stuff, it's like, like I wouldn't go back now.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't trying to cut my hair anymore. I'm like, not just am I getting a good haircut, but like it's a nice time to sit down and chat with somebody. You know,
I mean, like I think it's a little bit of everything, man. Kind of like with waitresses, for example. You know, like there was this one time where, you know, I was at a restaurant and like there was this waitress, and like I seen her up and down, and I'm like, man, this lady's out there grinding, you know. And I remember like I had barely like sipped like a quarter of my water, and next thing you know, I turn around and she actually grabbed my cup and she filled it up with water, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I barely even took a couple sips and this lady's already like, you know, making sure that I'm good. And so like the whole time we were there, you know, she was just pacing back and forth, and so finally I was like, man, I gotta talk to this lady. I was like, I just have to meet this lady, you know, because her ambition, you know, like even though like it was just her filling water or whatever it was, you know. And so finally I like reached out to her. I was like, hey, you know, and I was like, hey, I just want you to know that like I appreciate your hustle, you know, the grind, and like I see it, you know, and like that goes a long ways, you know. And so I pretty much went out of my way to let her know that, and it's pretty cool because I ended up making her day. And so yeah, she was pretty surprised. She didn't expect that from me, you know, because she probably just realized, oh, I'm just a waitress, you know. She probably thought nothing really going on, you know. But like that's kind of like where I kind of see the value of barbering, man. Because I mean, like the cutting part is one thing, you know, because like it's obviously taught me a lot. Like not just the art of it, but you know, discipline, the patience, you know, the long nights, you know, just trying to figure out, you know, like just so many things, man. You know, just like how to run your business, how do you do appointments, do you do walk-ins, what time do you start, what time do you close, like you know, all these other things, you know. And but I definitely feel like the overall experience is very important, you know, because um, like they say, like the first appearance matters, you know, just like the last, you know. So, you know, you always got to keep it going. You know, I understand, you know, no one's perfect, but if you have the desire to try to do the best that you can, I feel like people will read that off you, you know, you'll vibe that off and they'll see, you know, you don't have to say, your actions will speak louder, you know, and it'll show your honesty, you know, your commitment, your dedication to what you do, man, everyday basis, you know. And so, like I said, you can tell when you walk in, you can tell if someone carries themselves, even if they don't say anything, the way they walk, the way they dress, you know, their hair, you know, it all adds up, you know. So, I mean, you don't have to even say a thing, you know. And so I pay attention to all that stuff. Confident is just like, for example, with me, like when I'm doing a haircut, you know, or like right when I'm gonna do a haircut, let's just say, you know, someone will show me a picture, they'll be like, hey, can you do this? And I'll be like, yes, I'm confident enough to do it. So that doesn't mean I'm showing off. It means I can actually come through with the task, you know. And then I think that's where the line separates. So you know, I feel like showing off or not, you know. I mean, I think it's something else. So I definitely think to be confident, it's very good. Cause I mean, who doesn't want someone that's confident? You know, you're not gonna hire someone that doesn't know what they're doing. That's not confident to execute, you know, you got to know a little bit of yourself as far as that perspective. And like they say, you know, if you can't help yourself, you can't help someone either, you know. So I feel like same concept with that, you know. Like I said, they come to you to hire you for a project, and you know if you're actually being honest, or only you know if you're lying, you know. You're always kind of setting the bar higher and higher every single time, you know.
Oh yeah,
so absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's kind of like working out. Like, you know, you're not gonna be lifting the same weight for, you know, forever. But like eventually, every, I don't know, 2 weeks or whatever, you know, you're gonna start upping the weight. You know, different routine, different setup. You know, different meals. You know, whatever it is, maybe, you know, I don't know. But that's kind of the whole point, you know. Is you definitely want to be upping it every single time. At least try to. I mean, I think that's the end goal.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean that, like that analogy, honestly, man, I've actually always used it. You know, like basically you said it. You know, you gotta look at the big picture and you gotta break it down. And so I mean, at the end of the day, we only got 2 hands. You know, so you look at the big picture and you're like, oh man, that's a lot, because it is. You know, because there's so many steps to it. That's why it is a lot. But basically, like once you break things down, it's actually not that bad. You know.
Yeah.
Because you can handle it, because it's realistic, right? And so I mean, like one of the things too is like I obviously do appointments, and like there was times where like I would look at the schedule, and I was extremely booked, man. Like to the point where I, like, as soon as I glanced at it, I was like, dude, this is overwhelming. Like, how do I even, like, am I really gonna go through with all these appointments in one day? Like, just me? You know. So and then it got to a point where I was like, I need to change the way I'm like looking at the picture, you know, because it was just overwhelming. And so what I told myself, I was like, well, look, I only got 2 hands. I'm just one person. I was like, I have to worry about the moment, which is right now. So I was like, what time is it right now, and who's coming in right now? And so I was like, okay. I was like, well, then I just got to worry about that. You know, just focus on that hour and a half or whatever it is, right? On that client, you know, use up every second, just like I know how to. And then before you know it, you're done. And then guess what? The next guy comes in. Oh, okay. And then the next and the next. And so before you know it, that big picture actually isn't as bad as I thought, you know. And so people would ask me, they're like, dude, how do you work so many hours? How do you like don't you get tired? And like, well, yeah, of course you get tired. but I think it's perspective because of how you see the big picture, and so honestly, like that was one of my techniques that I just kind of picked up because it's overwhelming. Like I said, you only got two hands and you gotta answer the phone. You're racing against time. You're running. And whatever. And so honestly, I think that was one of like the best tips that I've learned, and I use it with everything. And so I think that's why I've been able to be so organized and effective at the same time. Perspective. It's the way how you see it. So
awesome. Actually, so one of the something that I've heard, and again, this is probably not the exact words, but it's like success is goals broken down into steps.
Right.
In the next
written down.
Yeah. And so, and basically you like reiterated that in what you
Yeah.
said. And once kind of the same thing for me, like, you learn that and it's like you really can do a lot more because you're not overwhelmed with this
Right.
big idea and seeing everything and
Right.
all those questions, like say people asking how did you do it, it's like, well, it didn't all just happen at once.
No.
Well, it wasn't just given to me and it didn't just happen in a day. It happened over 6 years of one appointment after the other and building a reputation,
Exactly.
building a
Well,
relationship with
kind
people,
of like what we
building
said
a name.
earlier.
Mhm.
The first appearance and the last appearance matter.
Yeah. Yeah, but and so like that everybody sees is like you in the shop and stuff. It's like you are able to achieve that by knowing that to get there you need to do the little stuff.
The little stuff, yeah. Exactly.
So if you want make a certain amount of money or to
Right.
have a certain facility
Yeah.
or
say
have
even
the tools that you want, like how are
Yeah.
you gonna afford it? Well, how are you gonna get the money?
Yeah,
You're gonna get
well,
the money by
even-
doing this, then it's gonna cost this much. So you break it
Yeah.
down into how many haircuts you
Yeah.
do or whatever. And so that the breakdown of all that stuff helps to kind of see everything
Yeah.
and then attack it.
Exactly.
Like having a to-do list. It's
Yeah,
like,
basically, break it down in steps and just your mind and your body kind of just starts following this rhythm, So I feel like a lot of it is getting into a rhythm, I don't have the exact information, but I think they've said something like it takes 40 some days to get into a rhythm, and it takes a couple days to lose the rhythm or the routine. That's pretty intense, man. So definitely, once you get into a rhythm, I feel like everything kind of starts to follow through with, and naturally flow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And so, just a matter of time, though. Definitely patience is a key. I feel like we're not born with patience. That's like one area that we have to build on. And so life will definitely challenge you with that. I know it has a lot with me. Even to this day, it's just something that comes with success. Something that comes with goals. And I think great things come with time. So I think that's what has been able to relax me mentally, to accept that, So when I set a long-term goal, I'm relaxed. I'm not trying to get it executed by the next day, because good things come with time. Like a haircut, I can cut your hair in 5 minutes, it's not going to be nice. But give me, an hour or whatever, right? Different story, right? Because I applied the time that was necessary and required to achieve that, and much more, like a Rolls Royce, it takes, so many months, right? Or years, right? Something like that. Don't quote me on that, and then versus like a Toyota, right? Like they can make it in just a few hours.
Oh yeah,
right?
the actual manufacturing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they're both a vehicle at the end of the day. But why does the Toyota cost less than the Rolls Royce? Quality, different experience,
Toyota doesn't have a pop-out umbrella.
Exactly, right?
But it's just that the little details,
Yeah, exactly.
the time,
It's the
time
details.
that it takes to achieve those details.
Exactly.
The manufacturing of the little parts that they put
The
into it.
the commitment, to execute that, to actually wait, 6+ months or whatever just to produce one car.
Yeah. No, I think I've heard that. Like they still they've got a manufacturing plan for it, a
But
system and
it's still
everything.
a slow
but
process, right?
you watch them put together just a motor.
Yeah.
And it's very meticulous. It's
Yes.
there's a lot
It
of
has
pride
to be
in it.
exact. It has
Whereas
to be-
like Toyota, they've got robots that pump them out, just like you
right,
said.
pride, yeah,
You know,
every 3
the
hours or whatever.
cheap materials.
Yeah.
You know, put
I mean, it's still
together real
Toyota
quick.
at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
and they've got a great reputation,
Right.
but like it's a very systemized, very
Right.
you know, turn and burn type
Right.
of thing. Whereas like the Rolls Royce, it's like
Exactly.
people are gonna be on a waiting list because we want this very
Yeah.
specific, handcrafted thing.
Exactly.
And so
It's custom and
that's a great analogy, especially
Yeah.
you know paired with the hair thing, because like
yeah,
you could be a turn and burn haircutting place and give people military, you know, tops or whatever,
Yeah.
and do 100 of them in a day.
Yeah.
Or you could do 8 in a day, and everybody's gonna have a lot better hair.
Yeah.
They're gonna have what they
Exactly.
want. They're gonna have the
Exactly.
custom
yeah.
cut. You know,
And
you,
I mean,
you take care of
even
them
though,
too.
yeah, and I mean, even though like maybe not everybody will notice it, because you know, not everyone's actually specifically, you know, I guess scoping out every, you know, I guess piece of everybody, right? Like in this case, like your hair. But I feel like as long as the client realizes what he's getting, you know, and the treatment, you know, the hospitality, the commitment, dedication, I feel like it's all worth it, man. You know, again, like that Rolls Royce idea, you know, it's like they're gonna pay top dollar because they know what they're gonna get, you know, and there's no regret, there's no going back.
Yeah.
And you know, and if you can deliver that every single time, you know, in this case behind the chair, you know, like it's priceless, I think, you know. And so
Sure.
I think that's what makes it. I don't know. I think it's more than a passion at that point, you know. It's just you can't ask for more, man. You know, and so same thing like with success, you know, like what is success to you, you know? I've been asked that question quite a bit, and you know, like the way I see it, you know, I think success is in my case is being happy in my own little bubble, you know, because I love what I do, and so I feel like that's actually hard to find. You know, I've had jobs where, you know, I'd get yelled at for no reason. You know, I wouldn't be valued for what I was doing. You know, nobody would notice me. You know, like I was actually trying. I knew I had potential. No, you know, there was just no opportunity to grow. You like you were just there. You know, you were just a gas attendant, or you were just a cash, you know, person. You know, like you. And so basically, after all that, you know, you pretty much start to realize like no, dude, like this is not the way, man. Like, so you like eventually you want to kind of pursue more to be able to do more, to have those values, you know, to actually appreciate yourself, you know, and have others actually realize that, you know, because we're all worth something, man, you know, and it's pretty crappy, you know. I think that's one of the worst experiences is knowing that you're around people and you feel like nothing. Does that make sense? And so I feel like that really struck me, and that was like also another part of where I wanted to do more, you know, and you know, for my family as well. But I feel like at the end of the day, that's kind of where my success plays off, is being able to go to the shop and, you know, I'm happy in my own bubble. I don't have to worry about getting yelled at. I know my value, I know my self-worth, I know what I'm doing, you know. It's like there's no hiccups along the way. I know what I gotta do, and I take care of it, and execute, and then I have fun. You know, I have fun with it, man. You know, it's a different experience every single time, every different person that sits in the chair, you know. And so I think that's what's neat about it. And so just a learning experience that never ends, man. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That was a really good one. So, what else are you passionate about?
So
Kind of wrap this up here.
for the ones that don't know, I'm also a musician. So definitely music is another passion of mine. I've been blessed to be able to do both, you know. But right now, because of COVID, you know,
Mhm.
it's kind of on pause. But definitely growing up as a kid, my mom took us to some music classes, and started playing the guitar at the age of 8. And so, long story short, you know, it just became a passion. Through both sides of my parents, they're all musicians. My brother also is a musician, and so basically we were able to build on that as a kid. And obviously as a kid, I just wanted to play PlayStation and I don't know, go play sports or something. But my mom had us on check, and so here we are now.
That's right.
And so, yeah, definitely. I think those are my two strongest right now. At this point in my life, I mean, I got other like hobbies off to the side that I like to do and stuff, but we'll see. I don't know if I'll consider them passions, But I don't know. I guess I think it's just like as a kid, you always wanted that one toy or that one car or whatever it is, and I feel like something like that kind of just stays with you as you grow. And so, just, for example, like my first truck, I just kind of like, it was just my dream truck, man. And so it's just, I kind of carried it as I got older, and it got to a point where I just kind of hit that peak where like, dude, this is I love this truck, man. Like, this is my dream truck. Like, I have to have it. And so, I don't know, it's just eventually like you get to the point where you want to execute and actually be able to get it, and in real life though this time, and so I don't know, I guess it's just something that's a part of you, and it's just like a little hobby, man. I don't know, it's just, you feel good going out there watching it, and you go park at Walmart or wherever and you look back at it and you're like, dude, that's my truck, I don't know, it's just a thing, it's just, you feel good. It's kind of like a haircut, it's just it just comes with it, man. I don't know. So definitely I enjoy my trucks. It's funny though, because I don't like driving that much. I just like, being around town here.
Really?
And then just back home. That's why when it came, I guess, to setting up my shop, the way it is, I looked at all those details, I mean, for example, like when I first had to run the business, one of the things that I guess got to my head was I would see like all the cars pass, like all the traffic through the curtains, through the window, and it'd be like already like 6, 7, 8, and I'd like look out the window and I'd be like, well, how come everyone's going home? How come I can't go home? And so eventually I was just like I want to be like everybody else too and go home too, but like eventually you're like, no, dude, like I gotta make this business, this shop comfortable, because that's what it was missing, so like eventually I kind of approached it like that, and I started investing into it. I kind of started tweaking it out, because I was like, well, why do I want to go home? I even tried it one time. I went home early because I just wanted to go home just like everyone else. And here I am at the house, and I'm like, okay, well, what now? Like, that's like, I didn't fix anything. So then I'm like, no, I'm like I gotta fix the shop, like it's missing something. And so that's when like I said, I started investing into it. Got the pool table, got the TVs, and started doing everything like that. Just kind of made it cozy, and eventually the end goal was to just kind of have that, man. Just kind of have the people just forget about the outside world. Like, as soon as like that door closes behind you, you're in another world, man. As soon as you close it again, you're back to the other world. And so that was my whole, I guess, analogy of it, like perspective of it. And so that's why it took me a long time actually to set it up the way it is, because for the longest time I would move everything like literally every day, sometimes up to 4 times a day for the longest time. But now the good thing, for the longest time, you walk in and it's set up the same exact way, because that's exactly how it had to be. Because with that setup, that's what I get from it. It's like delivering that. I have that peace of mind, because I don't need anything else. And so I think I don't know, I feel like people and my clients also get that experience, walking in, like they just forget about the outside world, man, and whatever happens there stays there. And so I think that's priceless. It's crazy, because I actually never used to see like haircuts that valuable, like at a certain point. For example, like I would just go into the barbershop, let's say, and then I got my haircut and I was happy, that was it. But from my perspective, like I tell people, like when you walk in, that's a client's perspective, but when I walk in and go stand behind the chair, that's a barber's perspective, so it's different. And so I feel like you start paying attention to all those details, I mean, I come out in hair, so I don't go to another barbershop, but most likely if I did walk into another barbershop, I'd definitely be paying attention to like their setup, you know, their color scheme, you know, and then, like how organized their setup is, you know, and et cetera, like that, you know.
Yeah,
But-
especially since you have that experience from the other side of things.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, because I mean that'll alter and change, you know, the experience to a certain degree, right? You know, you don't want to walk into a messy, you know, business / barbershop and
Not any
you know,
business.
well, there's a yeah, you know, in this case, you know, so it's like definitely you kind of just you're like in a neutral gear, you know, you're just kind of floating away. You just yeah, man. So I definitely think it plays an important role, you know, so many levels.